Hey everybody, and welcome back to the channel. Hope you guys are having an amazing weekend so far. So today, it was requested by more than one of you guys that you wanted to see what my add-ons were and my UI, and then I had a couple of people asking me how I go about leveling, so I thought maybe I would blend all these things into one video and upload it for you guys, you know, for the few of you out there that need the assistance, need the help, anyone that's new to the mods. I'm not a master modder. I don't really even screw around with the options all that much. I keep it pretty simple, guys, so I'll show you my list of add-ons here. So starting at the top, we definitely have Atlas Loot. Atlas Loot's awesome. It allows you to look through, I think this gives you, does it? Loot tables? Yeah, it gives you a little bit of a description here, which is nice. So Atlas Loot basically is all the loot tables across the game from all of the expansions, all PvP options and crafting, etc. So any of you that don't have this installed, Atlas Loot is pretty much a must-have in my books. It allows you to see where all, well, I mean, until they released the journal, this was the best way to find gear from back in the day. So Atlas Loot's definitely a must-have in my opinion. Next up on the list, Auctionator. Auctionator just allows me to do my auctions in a much faster fashion, buying and selling at higher speeds. I use Bartender, and that's how I keep my UI so minimal, and I like to change my bars around, move them around, put where all my buttons go, etc. So Bartender, definitely you gotta have that, guys, if you want to alter your UI or something at least similar to it. Draenor Treasures. I like Draenor Treasures because it just marks the map for me. That is part of how I level so quickly. I pretty much make the jump from 90 to 100 in less than an hour or so. And I don't spend money on extra potions, so I'll put that in there for you guys after. And you can also refer back to my Shaman leveling video where I explain how to get from 90 to 100 as well. Gladius, I don't know why I've got that disabled. I should definitely be enabling it. But Gladius, actually, I remember why. Because I don't need it when I'm not in arena. So I keep Gladius off, but Gladius is highly important for arena. Highly suggest you guys download this if you're going to be trying competitive 2s, 3s. Leatrix Plus, just a quality of life add-on, allows you to auto-complete quests and auto-talk to people. So you'll go through basic options, things of that nature. It'll return quests and pick up new quests all without you having to do anything, so it really speeds up the questing process. This is a must-have, guys, for any of you that want to do a better job and a faster, more efficient job of leveling. So Aura Tracker provides logic for tracking auras and calculating pandemic fresh windows. Basically, this just allows me to see people's buffs in a different fashion. I have only just installed it recently, so I'm still working around with that. Master Plan, Garrison Mission. Master Plan I don't really use that much anymore. I had it back in when we had garrisons. It was better. Basically, I could probably just turn that off. Nameplate, scrolling combat text. So I've just decided to download this. It's basically just scrolling text that comes out of the nameplate as you're doing damage. I'm not sure if I love it or not yet. So far so good, but we'll see. Maybe I'll tweak it a little bit and we'll go from there. Omni CC gives you the cooldown count on your moves, so it's nice to see the number ticking down. And what I like to use is it's basically like a clockwise clock motion as it cools down as well. You'll see it when I jump into game here. Pawn is nice to see all the different scores for items and see what's better for you. I like to use Pawn because it just gives you a percentage upgrade or degrade or downgrade, sorry, depending on the item and what it is and what you're looking for. Postal, definitely an important one there. It allows you to auto open all your mail, so especially when you're working on the auction house a lot, Postal is definitely an important one, guys. Recount, I like to see my damage done. Everybody likes to know they're doing a good job of healing your damage. It's nice for tanking to understand where your threat's coming from. So Recount's a good one for PvE, not as important for PvP because they've just got the damage pads. Rogue Door Opener, if you're a rogue, it allows you to open the Rogue Order Hall door. Not so important anymore, but it was super annoying to constantly have to do that back in the day, so have that still. Tell Me When, definitely a good one here, guys. Visual, auditory, textual notifications about cooldowns, buffs, and pretty much every other element of combat. So that's a good one to have. Tidy Plates, the one that you guys have been asking about, the nameplates above people's heads. That's Tidy Plates, guys. It does a very nice job of making it look smooth and showing you buffs and debuffs. Weak auras too. I don't use that many weak auras. I still should probably work and dabble with this more, but I just don't have the time right now. Weak auras, you can basically put a move that you want to keep track of or a buff on your page somewhere, and when it procs or when you have that move ready, it shows up. You can light it up, you can have it glow gold. There's a lot of different things you can do with weak auras to give you more of a visual, auditory, visual, and I believe you can get auditory, but more of hey man, your move is ready to go. That basically an alarm clock. On top of that, guys, that's pretty much it. Deadly Boss Mods is the last one that I would suggest in my personal bank of add-ons here. There might be other stuff that other YouTubers and other players will suggest, and hey guys, feel free to comment down below and let me know what you're using. But the last one here is Deadly Boss Mods. This is basically because I'm a dum-dum, and this keeps raiding and PvE a little more dum-dum proof. It tells you when to get out of the fire, it helps, it calls out moves that are coming when bosses are using different things, so that keeps me from failing too hard, so that's nice. And in terms of how I set things up, guys, so what I want to do for you today, I want to do this anyway because I'm a sucker and I want to jump on the bandwagon and potentially level myself a marksmanship hunter. So I'm going to go ahead and make this guy real quick. We're going to pick some pretty standard options here. That guy looks cool. Hairstyle, come on, we'll do something high speed, low drag, man. Maybe. Yeah, we'll go with that. Why not? Let's get a better hair color, though. That looks good. Tattoo style. I like no tattoos on Zandalari. Tusks, I like small tusks. And earrings. Yeah, I mean, we'll go with that. That's cool. And we'll call him Slothzilla. Nice. Alright, guys. So we've made our new character. Enter game here. And I'll show you guys a little bit of how I set things up to get you guys started, especially with bartender, because that's different. You're gonna see everything usually all over the screen at one time. It's a little overwhelming at first, but you guys can pick at this stuff one by one. Again, I'm no master at this. I just want to release this video to help you guys. So I'm gonna skip over this little intro piece here. So as you can see, a lot of my stuff is already in place. But what I would do in this case, if everything pops up on the screen at once, we want to make it a little cleaner. We're going to hit slash and type in bartender. There you go. So bartender comes up. What we do with bartender, hit the lock button, and you can see all of our bars and items, or not items, but actives and on use buttons here, like vehicle bar, zone ability. That all pops up, and we can move this stuff around the screen when it's highlighted in green like this. We can move it around the screen and put it where we feel like it's comfortable. So in my case, I like to keep all of my like ability bars and vehicle bars all in the same corner, out of the way. It keeps it nice and clean. I like to move my bag bar and set it down on top of my micro menu in the corner. I put bars 3 and 4 for periphery moves and talents and items and teleports, etc. And then I usually use 1 to 3 bars, 2 to 3 bars down below. When you actually click on the bars themselves, you can scale them to make them bigger. You can also pad them so you have a longer bar. I'm not really sure why you would want to pad it. And then buttons, you can definitely shrink down the number of buttons on there as well, and the number of rows. So you can actually go down and make a square if you wanted to. Let me show you that in the middle of the screen here. If you really wanted to, you could do something along these lines. I like to have rows. This is just the way I've done it forever. No need to really change it now, right? So we've put that back in place. XP bar. So the Blizzard art bar, this is what you're going to have on your screen right away. The Blizzard art bar, it's cool, it looks good, but I like to get rid of it. So we click that, we disable it. Status tracking bar is your XP bar down below. It's usually disabled when you first start, so you're going to want to enable it. I like to put it at the bottom of the screen. Then I like to unlock my chat window and bring it all the way to the corner there. Hit the background button and blank out the background. So this is how I keep everything out of the middle of my screen. I do not love clutter in the middle of my screen. I can't stand it. I don't know how other people play with all that in the middle of their screen, but hey, to each their own, right? So zone ability bar, like I said, goes in the corner. Vehicle bar, if you have a pet, you can definitely enable your pet bar. And I always like to put my pet bar on top of my 2 bars. Then I can see all of my moves in unison, and I don't have to go looking around for it. So that's a little bit about how I set up my bars, guys. It's pretty simple. Next up, you're going to hit key bindings, and then I always like to check character specific key bindings, because you'll note that when you change something and you don't tag this, you're going to change it on all of your other characters across the board, and that is a sincere pain in the dick. You do not want to do that every time and have to continue constantly resetting them. So guys, make sure to hit character specific key bindings. And then what you do is you literally come down here and you can start adding your keybinds as you like them. So I like to use middle mouse button for my silence, so I click middle mouse button. If I want to use a concussive shot, I can put number 5 on this. If I hover over it and hit escape, it will remove it. And then if I wanted to make that F, I can remove it. G, I can remove it. Shift G, anything I want, guys. So really, once you have this binding mode up, try to have all your moves on your bars and ready to go, because it's a real pain in the ass to go back and forth and keep opening bartender, then keybinds, and doing it. So try to have your bars set with all the moves on them where you would like to see them. If you like to have your buffs in one corner and your attack animations in one corner, that way you can have it all ready to go and keybind everything. That being said, guys, this is bartender. You can easily click the button to get back into bartender, but you can't get to the menu for keybinds. So you have to type it every single time. So one more time, just hit slash, type in bartender, enter, and here you are. So you can definitely mess around with more settings there, okay? Alright, and next up, Leatrix. If we click the Leatrix button here, it'll bring up this automation window. This is really all I use it for, guys. I don't really use anything else. Automation for quests and gossip, and every time I talk to a vendor, it sells all of my junk and repairs my gear. So this just takes all the little stupid little steps and time out of you know, all the small stuff that just takes away from your main gameplay. So I like to get rid of that, automate it, makes my life simpler. Here's Atlas Loot. If you've never seen Atlas Loot, you must be living under a rock. Otherwise, guys, Atlas Loot here, you get this nice window, so you can pick your module up top, which expansion you want to look at. If we want to go back to BC and look at Mechtherodon's layer gear, we can do that. And if we want to look at weapons, we can control click on these weapons. Otherwise, it actually gives you, if you hold control, it'll give you a nice little window there to see what you're looking at. But this is basically how I look around the game before the journal. I still use this, to be honest, because it makes things simpler in my opinion. We could look at Wrath of the Lich King, Icecrown Citadel, and you can basically look at everything in the game here, guys. So again, Atlas Loot, super important, very useful. Weak auras. Like I mentioned, I don't actually have weak auras in use all the time. I've started to work with it a little bit more, but as you can see here, you can see the different little animations on the screen that are going on. So when you have something that's counting down, you can actually show it in an item, not an item, but kind of like an icon, and have it glow, have text pop up. So lots of different options there, guys. So outside of that, there's not too much else in terms of add-ons that I'm using. In terms of nameplates, when you actually get to an enemy, I mean, can we get to an enemy from here? Alright, so we found an enemy. Hooray! As you can see, the health bar above its head, that's the tidy plates. It looks really sharp. I like it. Now we're going to use number 1 here. We're going to do some damage. And as you can see, that is the new damage add-on that I put. Not sure if I love it or not yet, guys. I have to tweak around with it a little bit, but so far it's pretty cool. But okay, guys, outside of that, in terms of leveling, I've had a lot of questions asked to me on how to level a little faster, what I like to do for leveling. So if you hit Shift P, you can hit the Heirlooms tab. Now you want to make sure all your heirlooms are buffed up as far as you can afford. Really, honestly, guys, if you don't have a lot of gold or you're spending your gold to buy your monthly tokens, you don't really have to blow it on this stuff. You can still level pretty fast without them, but it's highly, highly, highly recommended that you get these heirlooms. Once you do, you have to pay incremental, exponentially increasing incremental amounts of money. So you're basically going to spend, I think, 1,000 gold for the first, like 2,500 for the second. Once you hit like the 90 to 100 range, it's like 5k gold each, and then I believe beyond that it's like 10k gold. So you can check into that, guys, or someone can let us know in the comments down below. But basically, we are going to create an entire set of gear for this guy, and we're going to be looking at roughly a 50% plus bonus to experience. Definitely get some more haste. And then once we've got all these items, equip everything. Let's take a look here. So we've got 10% on the helmet, 20% on the shoulders, 30% with the chest, 40% with the legs, and 5% with the cloak. You can get rings. I did not do the garrison missions for the rings. You do have to do the shipyard missions, guys. So just to keep that in mind, if you want to shoot for the rings, I believe it's 5% each extra experience, which makes a big deal. So I highly suggest you look at it, because maybe that will definitely it will speed things up for you as well. Once I get into this mode, I instantly start dungeoning, guys. Dungeons are huge. Dungeons are big experience. I always queue, even as DPS. Let's see what the queue times are like right now. 7 minutes. They usually pop before 7 minutes, so it's not bad at all. But with the extra 50+% experience, I always go into Orgrimmar and also turn on War Mode. Now, not a lot of people like to quest with War Mode on. That's up to you guys. Getting ganked is part of this game. It just is what it is. I do the ganking in return eventually. That's how I see it. So it comes full circle. The karmic balance must be met. So in this case, guys, I always turn on War Mode for an extra 10% experience. If you are leveling on the Alliance side, I do believe the enlistment bonus is more than 10%, but you guys can check that out. I don't really play Alliance that often. I did get requests to play some Alliance characters. Maybe I will. That or I'll just Mercenary BG, and basically it's the same thing. So outside of that, guys, in terms of leveling, you definitely want to be doing your BGs. This whole guide right now is more not for adept players, so anyone that's, you know, been playing this game for a year or more, you don't really need this information. But for new players or players that just do not know what to do, you're gonna want to dungeon as much as humanly possible. On top of dungeoning, guys, battlegrounds. Now, it might not seem like it, but your first win of the day will usually give you roughly a level of experience, and beyond that, you can get anywhere from 30 to 40% plus. In the beginning especially. So I do a lot of BGs. I really enjoy BGing my way to full level. So if I'm getting bored of dungeons, I'll switch to battlegrounds. And questing is and still always will be one of the fastest methods to level, especially with the enlistment bonus, especially if you have potions, especially if you have all the heirlooms. If you go to highly condensed areas that have clumps of quests and crush through them. So basically a few good spots, Ashenvale can get you straight through in pretty fast fashion there. I always like to go over to Eastern Kingdoms though. Ghostlands is a fun place to level. If you're crushing through it, it's pretty fast. Eastern Plaguelands, sorry, that's a little later on, but Tristfall Glades is my absolute favorite opening place in the game, but you know, where else? We could say Hillsbrad Foothills as well. Also has a lot of quests close together that you can crush in high speed. Like you can get from, like, Zandalari Troll starts at level 20, all allied races start a little higher, but you can get between 20 and 40 in your first night if you just quest and PvP and dungeon in between. So guys, there's not really that much more to it. There's no secret tricks. There's potions in the game that will increase your experience. Again, I say refer back to my Druid video or my Shaman video where I explain getting from 90 to 100. I show all the different kinds of experience potions there. But yeah, guys, that just about wraps up this video. I didn't want it to go on too long, just to give you a brief introduction on how I set my user interface up and how I level my characters. But thank you so much for stopping by. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. If this video helped you guys out, let me know in the comments down below. I love doing this for you guys. I know this isn't the most high quality setup here, but I'm doing my best. So hopefully you guys found this useful. Thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you again soon.